Alright guys, so for the first time in a 30-day rolling period, I have exceeded the £10,000 turnover mark. Now I wanted to make this video and share it with you guys because it is also about a year since I first found out about FBA. You know, I remember it clear as day. One morning I was sitting there eating my breakfast, watching a completely unrelated YouTube video, and an advert popped up from Johnny Bradley. So Johnny, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, thank you for being the catalyst for change to get to me to start this FBA journey. And ever since then, it's kind of, I haven't looked back. You know, I spent a good few months researching first. So although I found out about FBA in February, so if any of you guys are watching this now and already know about FBA, you're ahead of where I was at this point last year. I didn't actually start selling until the September, so I've been aware of FBA for a year, but I've only been selling for 6 months. So £10,000 turnover in 30 days. I'm going to show you the breakdown of the profit as well, because turnover or sales without profit is absolutely pointless. Also, what I'll do, so you'll know that this isn't fake, I will give you a live refresh of my app. So hopefully that will come into focus, and you can see that today I'm still over the 10,000 in that 30-day period. So yeah, let's jump straight in. I'll show you the screenshot from Seller Central. I took this last night. It was a good day yesterday. I think I did 23 units by the end of the day, so I took this around 9-10 p.m. last night. And you can see for the second half of January, when I just had the one product live in Amazon, was ticking over nicely between kind of £200, £300, £400 of sales per day. And then once I launched my second product around the end of January, which started to get some traction about a week or so ago, and you can see there, I mean, that was a record day for me, that we sold 25 units that day, over £600 of revenue in one day. So just those two products in stock together for kind of 7 to 10 days, and we're already starting to see even more of the potential what FBA offers. So let's go through into profit to show you how much money I made from that. So I'm going to split it between the two products. So product one, I switched off all advertising for product one at the very start of January. So there's been no Facebook, Amazon, no marketing going on at all with product one. You know, it's ranking well, so I was just going to see how it went. So I sold 290 units in the last 30 days with roughly an £8 profit margin per sale, which gave an overall profit of £2,320 for that product. Like I just said, PPC for Amazon and Facebook was zero, so overall profit was £2,320. Which is a 28% profit margin on that product. Now, it'd usually be a little higher, but that batch of stock was air freight instead of sea shipping. So once I get back to sea shipping, there'll be kind of £9 to £10 profit per product instead on that. So on to the second product. So we sold just over 80 units in the last, I think it was the very end of January we launched. So just on 2 weeks, we've sold 80 units. You know, the first few days were quite slow, as is typical of a launch, and things have really taken off. And I think yesterday we sold 14. So things are really going well with the product now. How does that break down? Well, PPC, I spent £492 on Amazon PPC, so I went quite hard with PPC on Amazon this time. In the early days, it was very expensive, but as we've gone on, the ACoS has come down a lot, and I'll show you that on the next slide. Don't forget to include the VAT as well. So in total, I spent £590 on PPC in these 2 weeks. Facebook, I only spent £110 on Amazon, on Facebook PPC. But I also did some Facebook group advertising, which has been kind of a revelation in this launch campaign, and it's something I'm going to be doing a lot more of with future launches. And I'll do a video about this in more detail. But in short, once I'd set up my Facebook advert using a video, which I designed a video for the product, and then set up the many chatbots, I then started approaching different Facebook groups in that niche, asking them if I can advertise my product in their group, just by effectively sharing the advert into their group. And most of them, all I had to do was kind of give them one free product or send them £20, and they were quite happy. So the investment, you know, it cost me £60 to get my product into 3 different groups with members of over 10,000 members in each group. So £60 to get your product in front of 30,000 people. That's peanuts for marketing. So going on, that is where I'm going to be looking heavily, because if you look at this PPC spend on Amazon there, if I would have put that towards Facebook groups, I think the launch would have been even more successful at that stage. So the profits are, I make roughly £8 per unit on each one of these sales, so that's around £640 profit I made. Overall advertising costs, so you've got the 590 plus the 110, the 700 plus the 60, so the 760 minus the 640. So overall, I'm at a £120 loss on this product at the moment, which after 2 weeks, completely, that's absolutely fine. I know if I did this video in 2 days' time, 3 days' time, that would probably be break even or profitable. And going on, and if anything like yesterday, when I sold 14 units which is probably about 110, 120 pound profit, and only had about 30 pound of PPC, so about 80 to 90 pound profit overall. That's what I expect to see going forward. So overall for the month, I still made £2,200, even with launching a new product and making a small loss on that product. So just to go into that launch in a bit more detail, I'm going to show you the process and also show you some stats and a screenshot from Seller Central, so that you can understand, it's not uncommon to see a very high ACoS to start with. So take a look at this graph. So I launched the product initially. The orange line is the ACoS and the blue line is the sales. So in the first few days, you can see my ACoS here was about pretty much 100%. We had one day where it was a bit lower, which was good. And then I remember this is the weekend before last, I spent £50-60 per day for maybe a couple of sales each day. And one day you can see that ACoS was over 200%. And it's quite worrying because by that point I'd probably spent £150 on PPC and maybe made 8, 9, 10 sales. But it's always a long-term thing with Amazon, and this was always part of the launch strategy. And I knew I was going to have a higher ACoS until those first reviews started arriving. So that was it. Initially, I always launch with Amazon PPC to get just some very clean sales. So I always want some sales on the board before I start getting sales, which I know are going to convert to reviews. So I got those first kind of 7 or 8 sales in. And at that point, that's when I contacted people. This isn't anything against Amazon terms. These are people that they aren't family and they aren't colleagues who work for me or anything like that. They're people that I have contacts with, and I just say to them, look, I've got a product coming out. Would you be interested? And if they say yes, I say, great. When you get it, any chance you can leave a review. I don't say to them, leave a 5-star review. I don't take that risk but I am fairly sure they will leave a review. That's why I contact them in the first place. And I also don't bribe them to leave a review. I just say to them, can you leave a review? So I stick within terms, despite the fact the sale kind of is asked for. So once I've asked for those purchases, I then launched my Facebook video adverts with the ManyChat. If you go back to my video from Monday before last, I would have mentioned that I was setting up Facebook and ManyChat that day. So that would have been around about this time I started setting up the Facebook adverts. And then obviously I launched the Facebook group advertising at the same time, which helped those sales pick up. And the first review came in around here, and you can see the big crossover, and the review makes the bigger difference to Amazon sales than it does to sales that are coming from Facebook. Now, from the 2 launches I've done, the way I see it is on Amazon, people are comparing your product to other products in that listing. So the reviews are much more important because they're making a decision based on comparative data. Whereas when you're advertising on Facebook, you're just trying to convince them against no one else that your advert is worth clicking on. So usually by the time they've clicked through to your advert, they've almost committed to buying your product. So you'll do better on Facebook without reviews than you probably will do with Amazon PPC, or at least that's been my experience with these first 2 launches. And you can see once that review came in and it started coming, I've got a couple more at that point, and you can see there my sales started to take off through PPC and ACoS. Where if you take, for example, yesterday, my ACoS was 11% yesterday with sales of £250. You can compare that to back here where an ACoS of 240% in sales. I think I sold 1 that day. And that's in less than 2 weeks, just completely turning it around from a high ACoS all the way down to I think for the last 4 or 5 days, I've been 20-30% or less on the ACoS front. So it's been really good. I now have 4 reviews in total, and I've got more reviews on the way. The reason I know I've got more reviews on the way, and keep this in mind if you're launching a product, when you get a review, very rarely does it appear straight away now. Now in general, a review takes 1 to 3 days to appear, and generally they appear overnight. So if you think you've got a review coming and it has not appeared, just be patient because it will appear eventually. So I know I've got 2 more coming, and the reason I know that is now that I've switched off my Facebook advertising yesterday. So what I'm doing, I took all of the order data from Amazon and I went through Facebook as well. And when I was selling through Facebook, I had a discount code. So I went through my Amazon sales data. I found all of the sales that used that discount code from Facebook. And because everyone through Facebook had been contacted through the ManyChat chatbot, I could then message every single one of those people that purchased with that code and say to them, have you got the product first? And if they say yes, great. Are you happy with it? Yes. Then that's when you ask for the review. So I just messaged 2 of them yesterday because you don't want the reviews coming in too fast. So I'm just going to be contacting 1 or 2 people a day for the next week or so, just saying to them, just wanted to check you've got the product and make sure you're 100% happy. And if they come back and say yes, at that point I'll ask the review. Both people I spoke to yesterday said yes, they've left a review. So I know they're going to appear in the next kind of 1 to 3 days. So that's what I'm saying. Manually following up with ManyChat. I know people talk about setting up automated sequences, but if I'm messaging someone on live chat to ask for a review, I want to be there manually, because you've only got to do this for a week or so for each product. You know, half hour a day just to contact a few people. I'd rather be there sitting there manually. So if someone comes back and says, no, I'm not happy, or they need a bit of help leaving that review, then I'm there on live chat to help them through that process. So during this launch, I'm going to show you the organic ranks. Now, I've mentioned in my previous videos, I use Helium 10. Now, whatever you use, just make sure you track your keywords. Unless you're tracking your keywords, how can you know how well your launch is going? So you'll see here for pretty much over half of my keywords at the moment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am in the top 20, so I'm either the bottom of page 1 or the top of page 2 for over half of my keywords in less than 2 weeks. When you're launching a product, you won't always see your ranks go straight up. You know, for both the products that I've launched, as the ranks have gone up, there will always be a day or two where there's a blip and then it will increase. And I've seen this before, used to see it all the time with Google as well. As you're working up through these algorithms, you'll go up, down slightly, and repeat. And it's exactly the same as I've seen. This is exactly what I'm seeing with Amazon's algorithm as well. So you can see here that most of these keywords have got a blip. I think only one of the keywords has started going down quite a bit, and I think that's one of my less relevant keywords. It was one of those keywords I didn't know if it was going to convert, so I put it in there. But we'll see how that one does over time. But the rest of these you can see, got good spikes, then dropped off. But at the moment, everything is going up nicely, and I expect to continue making my way up page 1 over the next few days, especially now that I'm kind of selling between upwards of 10 of these products per day. And like I just mentioned, don't expect to see improvements every day. And with Helium 10, they don't necessarily tell you every 24 hours. Sometimes they'll check it once a day or once every 1.5 days. So just click on the graph when you're in Helium 10. It will tell you when it was last checked, and you'll get a better idea of when the next one is coming. And like I said at the very start of this slide, always use the keyword tracker so you can monitor your launch progress. Other FBA news from my world of FBA. Product 3 has arrived at Amazon this week, and I'm ready to launch it. However, unfortunately, I can't launch it at the moment because the photography service I use, or used, should I say, for this product, because I didn't use the same one as for my first product, provided some very disappointing photos. So rather than launching it with photos I'm not happy with, I will pause the launch until they either rectify the photos or I rearrange the photo shoot with my original photographer, who had a much longer lead time at the moment, so I couldn't get them done. And I don't mind waiting to get the photos right, because this is quite a small product, so if it sits in Amazon for a few weeks, it's not the end of the world. The monthly storage fees will be quite low. Also got samples for product 4. Product 4 is in the same niche as product 3, so I don't want to order product 4 until number 3 is launched successfully and I've proved that I can launch within that niche. And I've also got samples coming for product 5, because if product 3 doesn't work out, I will skip number 4 and go straight to 5. If not, then I'll just be working on them all, and I'll be working on 3, 4, and 5 and start bringing them all in. So that's it. The first 5 products are lined up. The first 2 are live. This first one's been selling successfully for quite a few months. The second one, we're 2 weeks through the launch, is selling successfully now. Product 3 is at Amazon, waiting to be launched. 4 and 5 samples are either here or on the way. So overall, it's going very well. Even the YouTube channel is doing really well. I've just hit 700 subscribers this week, so thank you to all of you guys that have been part of this journey. I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subs before my YouTube anniversary, which is April the 26th. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And also a thumbs up as well if you like this content. Any questions, as always, drop me an email, darrenlynchfba@gmail.com.